Alright, welcome back folks. Time for another game of Sudoku. It's a hard one today. Let's take a look here. Kind of looking, center symmetry is kind of fun there. Got some alleys and, okay, got an alley here and an alley here. See this 4 and this 4? So I always like to look at that alley, and then I like to reverse it. So see how there's a 2 down here, but there's no 2 this way. Okay. So it's always good to look at those, see which way they go. Now I'm going to start looking for pairs. I'm going to start across the top here. I've got a 1 and a 1. So I know one of those has got to be my 1. 3s are all done. I don't see any other pairs across the top. So I'm going to go down here on the center. I've got a 4 and a 4. So that means our 4's got to be up here. Got a pair of 2s coming to the right and a 2 here. So got to have a 2 here, and that looks like it. Let's move on down here. We got a pair of 3s, and we also have a 3 here to the right, so we just have one spot for the 3. We've got a pair of 8s coming to the left, so we have to have an 8 in one of these 2 spots. Pair of 7s coming to the right, only one spot left for the 7. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. Now see, this 7 does come up. Now I'm going to look at it vertically here. 7 covers up this alley, so I know I have to have a 7 in one of these 2. I got a pair of 3s and then a 3 across the bottom, so my 3 has to be here or here. Now in the middle here, I'm noticing I've got a 3 down the left and a 3 down the right. So that's the only place for a 3, so that helps us out here. It has to be here, and that looks like all of our 3s for the puzzle. Okay, we have a pair of 8s going up, so our 8 has to be in one of these 2 spots. Let's see. We do have a 6 that comes across and a 6 that comes down, so there's only one spot left for the 6. Alright, now we have a pair of 6s to the left and a 6 in the right, so we have to have 6 in one of these 2. Alright, looking vertically over here in these 3 cubes, and I'm not seeing really any other pairs that we don't have just yet. I'm looking here at this particular row. There's 3 numbers missing, so I like to see what they are, and it looks like we're missing a 1, a 4, and a 5. Now the cool thing is I have a 1 and a 4 here, so the only number that will fit there is going to be a 5. So I have to have a 1 and a 4 and a 1 and a 4 in one of these 2 spots, and that helps complete that row. I've got 3 numbers here. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need a 6, but I can't have a 6 here. So the 2 6s come down. Only spot for a 6 goes here. Alright, so now my 6 does go to the right, and the 6 comes down the center. 2 spots left for the 6. Coming back up to this column, I've got 2 numbers that I'm missing. It looks like an 8 and a 9. And I do have a 9 that helps me out here. So that has to be my 9. That has to be my 8. Okay, that is helpful. Let's see what else we have. We have a pair of 9s now to the left and a 9 through the center. So our 9 has to be in one of these top 2. Let's see here, 3, 8, 6, and 4. 3, 8, 6, and 4. Okay, so I was just kind of looking at this alley right here, seeing what it could be. All right, I've got a pair of 4s down the right and the left, so I have to have a 4 here or here. Just keep looking. I'm looking for pairs again, since we got a couple extra numbers in. Seeing if there's any big difference. This 8 comes up. This 8 comes across. So I need to have an 8 here or here. Now this 8 comes up and this 8 comes across. So my 8 has to go here or here. Okay. I have a 6 that comes up and a 6 that comes across. So 6 has to go here and here, which it looks like this is the only spot left for a 2. So if I go 1 and then I go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so going just horizontally, vertically, and using the cube, and so that helps us with this 2, and I can clear out that one. Now I have a set of 2s, okay, 3 2s, so all my 2s are there, okay. Let's see how that also pairs out. Okay, good, good. So this cube up here is fully marked out just like that. Okay, now we have a pair of 7s that come across the top here. So that means our 7 has to go here, and we also have a solid 7 and a ghost row 7. So our 7s have to go here. Okay, so that is good. Helps us do a little bit of organization there. Let's see what else we have pairwise. Okay, I do have a 1 that comes down and a 1 that comes across. So I only have 2 spots for the 1. Okay. Okay, so we have a 7 here, which tells me this can't be a 7. So we have to have a 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, do I have a 5 anywhere that can help us? 5s, 5s, 5s. Okay, 6. We got 7 marked. We have an 8 and then a 9. Okay, no help just yet. And we're missing a 2 and a 5 up here. Let me look over here on these 3 cubes. I think I need to check some pairs out here. We've put a lot of numbers in. So like we have a pair of 4s here. So I know I have to have a 4 here or here. Okay, we've got the 9s paired out. Okay, we've got the 1s paired out. 7s are paired out. Okay. Okay, I've got 3 numbers missing here. Let's it looks like I'm missing a 5. Okay, so I've got my 4 and my 7, and now I need a 5. And that can be any one, pardon me, any one of those 3. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have that we can split? All right, let me look at this. These 3 here, I've got a pair of 4s. Okay, we've got the 4 already. We've got 2s, we've got 3s, we've got 6s, and those are identified. Okay. Let's see here. We have 3s, we have 6s, we have 8s. Okay, those are looking good. And a 2. Okay. Well, seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. My brain is getting stuck. I think I'm going to just start writing some numbers down and get them all down before I can sort these. I'm getting stuck, but it's because I don't want to write down too much information. Okay, let's do it. Let's go ahead and write. Okay, so this top right cube is done. Let's move here. We've got our 1. Just double checking. We've got a 2, 3, 4. Now I need a 5. Now the 5 can't be here, but it can be everywhere else. That's not very helpful for me, but I'm just going to jot them all down. We've got a 6. Okay, now this 7 comes up. So the 7 can be any of those. Now I'm looking at this 7 here, and it says I can't have a 7 here. I could have one. This one can't because one of these two is a 7. This one can't because this one is here. So out of this row, those are the only two that could be a 7. Alright, so we'll come back to that one. So we've got our 7s all marked. We have our 8s marked. Now the 9 comes down just like the 5 and says it can't be here, but it can be everywhere else. Not very pleasant. I know that's got a lot of numbers. It's more than I like to put, but I think I'm going to have to kind of sort through some of these. Okay, so the 1 can't go here, but 1 can go here. 2, 3, 4. Now the 5 comes down. 5, 5, 5. We've got our 6. We've got our 7. We've got our 8. Now the 9 comes down through the middle again. And we go 9, 9, 9. Now, what is a neat thing to look at is see these two numbers, how they're 1 and 4? That means that's a double lock. These two cells can only be a 1 and 4. So in this column, I cannot have another 1 and 4 because that would block one of these two from being a 1 and 4. So me just writing down the numbers, otherwise I wouldn't have seen this. So what that tells me though is this can no longer be a 1. It tells me that these two can't be 1s because one of these two is. Now that tells me up here in this cube, this is the only one left for a 1. Okay. Now I still have 2 spots, and then, okay, so now I'll come right back, but this 1 comes across, this 1 comes across, and this 1 comes down. So there's my 1. That makes this one a 4, makes this one a 1. This 1 comes up here and makes this one a 1. Let me clean up my pencil marks. Okay, so just finding one number kind of cascaded and gave us a little bit of more information. But I had to get these two written down. So you see the 7 and 8 are also locked. So that means nowhere else in this column can a 7 or an 8 go because those two have to be it. But a 7 could go in any one of these, an 8 could go in any one of these. So see how there's 2 8s, 2 7s. So we still have some choices there. It didn't give it all away, but it did give us some help. Okay, so let's look here at this cube. We've got a 1, we need a 2, and a 2 cannot be at the bottom. So now we only have 2 spots. 3, 4, we need a 5. Now the 5 comes in here, so that actually makes it nice and balanced. See how there's just 2 numbers in each? That's what we're hoping for. And then we've got our 6, we've got our 7, we've got our 8, we've got our 9. So this cube is nicely wrapped up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 5. Now I don't have any help horizontally, so 5 can actually go in any one of these. We've got our 6, we've got our 7 identified, we've got our 8. Now we need a 9. Now see these 5s and 9s, just like this one, these 5s and 9s are all intertwined. So we're in the same boat with these 9s, but see how they're going to give us some information here in a minute. All right, so we've got a 1, we need a 2. Now a 2 can go anywhere just yet in these last 3 spots. We've got a 3. Now we need a 4. Now this 4 is going to come down and it's going to have to be over here. Alright, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we need a 9. And it looks like a 9 can go in any one of these 3 spots. So we'll do a 9, 9, 9. Alright, so it's starting to reveal itself. These places where there's 3 numbers, it's a little bit more confusing, but when you see down here where there's 2, it's starting to clean, and they're all cascaded. So once we solve one, it'll just fall apart and tell us what the others are. Okay, let's come over here to this cube. We've got a 1 down the left side and a 1 down the right side. So actually there's only 1 spot left for a 1. Now that's going to make this one an 8. Now this one comes over here and helps us with this one. It's now a 4 and a 1. Okay. Now this 4, one of these two were a 4. See, 2, 4, 9, 2, 4, 9. So that makes this one a 4. And then I can take the 4 out of there. Now, you see these are double locked. One is a 2 and one is a 9. But no matter how you cut it, I cannot have a 9 over here anymore. 9 goes away, 9 goes away. This is the only spot left for a 9. Alright, now this 9 comes up here and cleans up this 9. Alright, so we have a 5, 8, 6, 8, and a 5, 6. That's nice and clean. Okay, so our 9 has to be over here. Alright, so that is nice and clean and neat. We're just kind of slowly unraveling the puzzle. Okay, we've got 2 numbers missing here. It looks like a 2 and a 5. Now we have a helpful 2 here. So there's our 5, there's our 2. Alright, now we're going to work on this center cube right here. 1, 2, 3. Now we've got our 4 marked as one of these two. Alright, now I do notice that one of these two was a 4. And see, we have this 4 here, which tells me this can no longer be a 4. So here's our 4. So now the 2 numbers we're missing here are 5s and 7s. And we have a helpful 5 here that says this cannot be a 5. So it has to become a 7. Now, this number is just going to go ahead and cascade and give us a bunch of solutions. Let me clean up this 7 here real quick. So now this 5 says that this has to be a 9. This 9 says this now has to be a 2. This 2 says this now has to be a 9. Okay. Now with these 9s, I'm going to clean up my 9s here. 9 and a 9. With this being a 5, this now has to be a 2. With this being a 2, this has to be a 7. Alright, very good. That's cleaning up nice and neat. This 2 now comes across the top, and this 2 comes up the left side, so there's only 1 spot left for the 2. Alright, so here we have a 6 and an 8, and here's the only other spot, so that one's got to be a 6 and an 8, and I did a quick look down here vertically, and I don't see any 6 or 8 solid just yet, so I'm going to mark it there. Okay, so we've got a 1, a 2, a 3. One of these two is our 4. Now this 4 says it can't be here anymore, so this one has to be our 4, which tells us this is the only one left that can be a 7. All right, and now we're missing a 5 and an 8. And looking vertically, this one can also be a 5 or an 8. So I don't have this one fully marked out just yet, so I have to be careful not to over guess or mark because I don't have a number there. Okay, so if we're looking, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now this 5 does come up, and it says I need a 5 here or here. This 5 comes up to the middle, and it says I can have a 5. Pretty well, okay, I didn't finish this one. That one has to be a 5. Now I can get rid of my 5 there. So the 5 has to be not here in the left and not here in the bottom. So I can have a 5 any one of these 3. Got my 6 marked. 7 comes down, 7 comes up. So my 7 can be in one of these 2 spots. All right, my 8 comes across, and my 8 comes up the right side. So this is actually the only spot that can actually have an 8. And then that one gives me my 5. I can clean up my 5 here. I only have one spot left for my 8 here. All right, and so I've got a 7 and a 9. See these 7s and 9s? Now, that tells me that this cannot be a 7. These two are now double locked. So if this can't be a 7, that means this one has to be my 6. If that one's my 6, it has to be my 8. If that's my 8, there's my 7. If this is my 5, then this one is my 6. If that's my 6, that one's my 5. So knowing the double locks and having nice clean pencil work really helps to sort that out. All right, so I have a 7 and a 9 here. So I have a 7 and a 9 here. Where else can a 9 go? A 9 can go not here in the middle, because I know my 9's got to go. Well, let me sort this one here. See, this was a 6 and an 8. So it can't be an 8 anymore. That has to be a 6. One of these two is my 6. Well, it can't be this one anymore. So there's my 6. One of those two is supposed to be my 5. There's my 5. Very good. So now we're just kind of sorting this out. One of these two is my 5. It can't be this one anymore. There's my 5. Clean up my 5. So I've got a 9 and an 8. And I have an 8 down here. So this one has to be my 8. This one has to be my 9. I already got my 6. I've only got one number vertically missing, which looks like a 9. And that makes this one my 7. And then, of course, this 9 and 7, we just swap it over here with a 7 and a 9. There you have it, folks. Ghost rows were really important, and really this one was solved by just pencil work. Making sure that we had really good notes, making sure I cleaned them up so I didn't trip myself up, and making sure that I didn't assume that I had it all marked out when I didn't, because I've done that before and I'll think that I've already marked a cube for all possibilities, and as I erase one number I'm like, oh, that's got to be it, and I'll have forgotten that I didn't write out the whole cube. So pencil marks helped out a lot on this one. As always, I do recommend printing you off a couple copies, play along with. Always welcome any comments, suggestions, or challenges. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll catch you next time. Bye.